Men and their weird ways of showing affection.
I hope this isn't the case, because if this is, I'm gonna be mad.
Holding another man up and just gutting him. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara, and today we're reading one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that is How to Kill a Guy in 10 Days. Join me as we read this thriller / rom-com together and maybe solve the mystery. I'm so excited for this vlog. I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds so interesting. Just the concept of like a thriller and like a rom-com mashup. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving the concept of it. Let's see how well it executes itself. I always love a little bit of a mood board for each book. Like I feel like having a mood board that kind of describes the vision of this book or the thing that this book is trying to be or become or do, I think is so nice. So I'm gonna put up, sorry, I just saw somebody walk by. I'm gonna put up my windows this way, not like a literal person. Yep. Anyways, I will put up a mood board here to show you guys the vibe that we are going for, right? Like the aesthetic that it is trying to be, what it's trying to bring alive, the emotions, the vibes, the aesthetic, the feeling that it is trying to emulate. Yeah. What is that? Having a mood board just makes that clear. And I'm excited to see if it lives up to its aesthetic. I'm curious to see that, right? Because books can always market itself. A book can always be marketed really well and just be marketed as this like sarcastic and witty, crazy rom-com with like a thriller vibe. Like, what does that actually look like? What does that actually mean? Let's find out together as we read this book. Yeah, I'm so excited. So happy to have you here with me. Some of my audio has been corrupted, but I'm like, because I've already like filmed the whole thing, right? This is me going back and refilming the intro. Long story. If you see me pop up again, just know that my audio for that clip was just corrupted. It's fine. The show must go on because I filmed this whole thing. Past me will go through on this epic journey with you to figure out what happened, how it happened, and whether we like this book or not. Does it live up to the hype? Does it live up to the aesthetic? Is it what it said it would be? Let's figure that out. Anyways, Past me will see you in just a second. Let's get into this video. So happy to have you here. Let's get started. Okay, before you actually go see Past Me, I thought I would give you guys a little bit more information on what this book is about. So this is, like I said, it's a thriller-esque rom-com. This is a new subgenre that's kind of emerging. It is getting bigger, and there are books with like that sort of vibe where you have like a killer who's a love interest or like something like that. But this is really kind of looking at it conceptually, how the themes in a rom-com, the tropes of a rom-com overlap or can work with the themes and tropes of thrillers, how that can be meshed together. Can that even work? What would that look like, right? Our main girl, Jamie, is a student. Pretty sure she's a PhD student. She's writing her thesis. And the topic of her thesis is exactly that. The topic of her thesis is how final girls and leading ladies are more similar than you think, right? How rom-coms and like thriller / horror books have much more in common, and how they follow a lot of the same tropes, a lot of the same plot lines, how they overlap, how they're very similar. And that is the topic of her thesis, and that's her point of view, right? The story basically starts off with Jamie's best friend Lori. Lori is Jamie's best friend and also roommate, right? Lori is like, hey, you love rom-coms, you always write about them, you always rave about them, you are obsessed with them. Why don't we go to a speed dating event so you can find love for real, right? Like real life love. You love it so much in movies, give it a go in real life. And Jamie's like, she's not totally against the idea, so she's like, whatever, I'll go. You know, there'll be great snacks mid-men. We'll get through this night, right? It'll be fun. So they go to a speed dating event. At this event, they meet some people. Some bodies start dropping dead. Right? I'm pretty sure that was in the blurb. Like, I hope I didn't spoil that for you guys. Now I have to double check that. A humorous, swoony, and downright terrifying slasher rom-com in which a cinephile gets caught in the middle of a murder spree at a speed dating event. Right, so Jamie goes there and bodies start dropping dead, and now she's in the middle of this like speed dating event. She was like, I'm just gonna go there, meet some mediocre men, and indulge in some street food afterwards. Things take a twisted turn, and she has to use her horror film knowledge to get her and her friend out of there alive, is basically the setup that we have. Jamie is a bit witty, a bit sarcastic, a little bit outlandish, bold, kind of like that. Lori is even more so like that. Yeah, That's our main character and her best friend. They meet some guys, some are great, some are not. Who is the killer? We don't know. We have to figure it out together. Now, I'm currently planning on reading most of this book like by listening to the audiobook, which so far seems great. Like great start to it, definitely. I love the chapter titles. I love when chapter titles or like the intro to each chapter is like really interesting. I love that, and I'm just going to show you a clip in just a second. Alongside that, I will read some of it like as a physical, not a physical, but like ebook format, like in a written format too. So I'll read it both ways and let's see how it goes. For the audiobook, there is a dual narrator. We have two narrators, one for the guy, one for the girl, and I appreciate that. I think the narrators did a great job. They like get you hooked in straight away. Like you're into the story immediately, and I think the voices of the narrators were perfect, and they did just like an incredible job at that. This was my first audiobook ever, so that's where we're at, right? Like Jamie, essentially at this point in the story, it starts off with Jamie kind of giving her paper to Lori, being like, read my thesis, what do you think? Lori's like, girl, this is a crazy point of view you have. What do you mean thrillers are similar to rom-coms? That makes no sense. Pick one, right? It's either you love thrillers or rom-coms. They're not. What sort of intersection is there, is what Lori says. The girls then get ready to go to the speed dating event. They arrive there and talk to a bunch of girls. We have Jennifer, we have Danny, we have Colette, we have Billy, they talk to a bunch of men as well, right? They don't talk to the men, right? They talk to the girls. And then when the speed dating event officially starts, because there's like a pre kind of sit and talk to the women you're around, just sit and converse with people. After that, when the event really starts, they talk to a bunch of men. Jamie's first guy is like, she's like, don't love him. Second guy, she's like, ooh, like him, right? So that's that. She just goes on a few dates. Lori's also going on some dates. They're at this speed dating event, and then all of a sudden, lights go out, body drops dead. And I'm pretty sure that's where past me can now resume, right? Like I think that's it. All right. Sending you guys back to past me. Past me will just figure it out with you and is just as confused as you. Let's get into this. Hi, welcome. It's a new day and it's a little bit later. Like I said, I'm currently reading How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, and it is so good. It is hilarious. It's just ridiculous. Like it's not comedic, it's just ridiculous. And I love the concept of like a slasher or thriller-esque rom-com. I know that like subgenre is like starting to grow and becoming more and more popular, but I haven't read too many books like that. It's just ridiculous, right? We're at the part of the story where like obviously Jamie is like at this speed dating event. She's like a I think I mentioned this, she's like a film student. Like she's writing her thesis on how like rom-coms and slashers are more similar than you think, and like the final girls and main leads of rom-coms have a lot in common. And now she's like obviously at the speed dating event where like the lights go out, somebody ends up dead, and now she has to A, figure out who the murderer is, B, get out alive, and C, fall in love. She is falling in love regardless of whether she wants to or not. She's falling in love. What she wants, that's what I was gonna mention. She's obsessed. She's obsessed with our main guy, and I can see it very clearly. Why she's obsessed? He's just like tall and gruff, and I get it. She's a bit too obsessed, and I do think she needs to get a grip, but I'm liking it so far. I just think it's so ridiculous. I'm like, maybe I should show you guys clips of the audio. I feel like I should like save the parts where I'm like, this is just ridiculous. No, but and like the audiobook has like a dual voiceover. Like it has a voice for the guy, a voice for the girl, which I'm loving. I love the audiobook. I'm not a huge audiobook girly. This is a tangent, but I'm not a huge audiobook girly. And so this was like my first time trying an audiobook. Why is it so good? It's like watching a show in the background. Like you can just do other things while you like listen. Oops. Yep, I'm at chapter 11 though. That's like a little over a quarter way.
In his shoulders. The false alarm doesn't stop his questions though. And I'd guess maintaining our conversation is more of a fear reduction technique than a do-over for our bad first date.
So, what's the first rule of slashers?
She has like a bunch of she's like, obviously she's obsessed with slashers, she's obsessed with rom-coms, and they're in a situation where there's like a murder on the loose. So our main guy is just constantly asking her questions. I love how he like acknowledges when he doesn't know something. He's not like, I feel like some gruff characters hate admitting their weaknesses or asking for help and things like that, but our main guy is such a sweetheart. I love it. I love how he's just like, hey, like, what's next, girl? What's the next thing we have to do? What are the rules that we should be following right now? Because obviously she like has psychoanalyzed every single slasher to ever exist, and she knows like we can't do this, and like we have to like, you know, stick together. We can never say I'll be right back, because that's a promise you can't keep. So it's things like that I'm just like, I'm loving, and I love those like, I love the detail to attentions. I feel like the author did just a really good job at like constructing such an interesting character. I really like her. I think she's a great character. I feel like I've been reading so many rom-coms that like the characters just like blend into one, and I really feel like she sticks out. I think she's just like weirdly obsessed with murder. Um Not funny, but yeah, weirdly obsessed with murder is just the vibe right now that she's on. I like it. When I have more of an update, yeah, because that's where we're at right now, right? Like we're at the part of the story where like we have like, okay, our main girl, her best friend, our main guy Wes, and one or two other guys have kind of like banded together to find like who the slasher is. And you know, there's like a dead body. There's like two more dead bodies now. They're trying to track down who it is. Our main girl and Wes are currently like going one way, and the rest of the group is going a different way to kind of find this man. So, but yeah, story's definitely picked up. The murder has happened. The love is blooming. We're like 27% through, and our main girl is like obsessed with this man, right? I get it. I do think it's like, I get it. You know, actually, yeah, I take that. I get it. I would be obsessed too. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that is where we're at now. And I feel, this is a tangent again, but I think it's been a while since I've like been obsessed with reading, and I'm like on a roll now. I've read like a few books that you will hear about in my everything I've read recently video, which is coming up very soon. But I'm just back in my reading era, and I feel so good. Feels like I feel like me again. Like me, coffee, Carrie can read video, and like obsessed with books. Like that, just all four of that happening at once makes me feel like me again. That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling so good, and this book is really good. I'm loving it. Right? It's not like 5-star read. Like I wouldn't say it's like the best thing I've ever read, but it's really good. Also, it's so funny coincidentally that I'm reading a book on like slasher x rom-com, and I'm watching Carrie Can Read's video. Can I like show you guys? Wait. Carrie Can Read's video on like her reading a paranormal romance that's written by the king of rom-coms, Nicholas Sparks, and the king of like thrillers. What's his name again? I forgot his name. T-King Shyamalan? What? Yeah, so like she's reading a book, or this came out like a few months ago. She read a book that's like thriller-esque rom-com, and I'm reading a book that's like thriller, and it's just like the connect how that like coincidence. I think not. I want to explore this genre more now. Like I don't think that's the point. I feel like I should be concerned that we have emerged, another subgenre in the rom-com world has emerged, and it's like thriller-esque rom-com, but I am intrigued and I'm loving this, so may have to read more books from this subgenre. But yeah, I will be back with an update very soon. So yeah, till then I'm gonna keep reading and watching my vid. Maybe do one at a time. I can't like listen to two things. Yeah, I'll pick one, and I'll come back to you guys when I've read more. Till then. It's things like this where it's like, if I was hiding down there and a guy walked in with shoes covered in blood, a broken chair, leg in his hand, it wouldn't put me at ease. I'd probably stab him with my beer bottle first and ask questions later. That's who Jamie is, and I like that. I love just the writer in me is like, I love the characterization. I love it. But yeah, I'm on chapter 13 now. I'm gonna keep reading for a bit, but I will see you guys in a bit. Bye. Let me put you guys here. Hi, welcome. Oh, hello. The story has picked up definitely a bit. I feel like one thing about audiobooks that I didn't expect is how long it takes to get through them. I can finish this book in an hour. Like, and I'm already like, I've been reading it for like 3 hours in the audiobook, and we're only like 30% through. So that's something I didn't see coming, but I am getting through it. It is really interesting. Like I mentioned earlier, our main girl is like a huge film fan, so she's like leading this group of people trying to figure out how to get out of here. We have Wes, who's the love interest, who's like backing her up. We have Billy and Jennifer. I love how like there are so many references to rom-coms in this book, and I love it. Like the titles, the chapter names are just hilarious, and like the intro, I have to literally show you guys in just a second, but they're just hilarious. And so like she like defines, our main girl remembers the other girls by like referencing them or finding a similarity between them and like a rom-com girly like Meg Ryan, and like you do like it's just ridiculous, but so cute. I love it. But yeah, we're getting going. We have a few people that have gone missing at this point in the story. We have our main girl and Wes that are kind of like splitting off from the rest of the group, trying to go to one side of the warehouse to see if there's anything there and trying to get out. I feel like I'm at the part where I'm like, I'm not going to listen to the audiobook. I'm going to just read it myself and like get through this part, because we're kind of like dwindling about, we're not doing much. We're not taking a lot of action to get out of here. We haven't been introduced to the murderer. Nobody else has died yet, which I guess is a good thing. But yeah, no, definitely we need to like get going. Like I'm like, what's going to happen next? You know, like I get it. We have a murderer on our hands, but there's no clues. There's like, there was one weird clue. They were like going down, Wes and our main girl, Jamie, they were going down one way and they saw like flower petals. And like our main girl made that connection because this morning before she like came to this speed dating event on the news, it was talking about this man who murdered this girl who he loved or something. And so now they're at this warehouse and there's like petals and stuff. And you know, it's almost as if like the murderer thinks this is romantic. Like the murderer is like in love with one of the girls, is what, I don't know, something like that, something romantic, lovey-dovey going on as well. And that's kind of the only conclusion or hypothesis or thing we have. Like I want the story to pick up a little bit more and like more action to happen. Where are we gonna go from here, right? If it's like, if the murderer is in love with the girl, who is it, right? Like who is um who's the murderer and who's he in love with? I have a sneaky feeling this is just my little feeling. The guy, Wes, right? He's a great guy. But right before Jamie went on a date with him, right at the very start of the book, before the murders happened where they're like speed dating and stuff, right before Jamie went on a date with him, well, I forgot the other guy's name, but there was a guy she went on a date with right before Wes, and that guy she was like, oh, he's really cute, he's really nice, I really like him. You know, she was like, oh, I'm gonna get drinks with him afterwards. That guy we haven't heard a lot from up until now. He hasn't said much, he hasn't done much. I don't really know where he is either, because now Jamie has split off and a few other people have split off from the main group. It's always the quiet ones. It's always the quiet ones, and it could be him. I'm not calling it. I'm not gonna accuse anybody yet, right? But it's like, it could be. It could be. Why is he really quiet? Where has he gone? I don't think there's a member in this like group. I forgot his name as well. I think it's Curtis. Or is Curtis the guy that died at the very start? I think Curtis was the guy that died at the very start. Whatever, there's a guy in this group who's really annoying, and I don't think it's him. I feel like the author's trying to maybe kind of push that it might be him, because he's like being really annoying and being really, I don't know, just problematic. He's not cooperating well. And so I feel like it'd be easy to say it was him, but I don't think he's smart enough for that. So I feel like it's one of the quiet ones. That's where I'm at so far. I will check it in a bit when I'm like over halfway and, you know, we have some action, some stuff going on. I'll let you guys know then. Till then, take care. I'm going to finish my assignment and then continue with the book. Check in later. Hi, everybody. It has been a while since I last checked in, but we are at the 50% mark, and I thought that I would update you guys because some bodies have dropped dead, and we have found out some new information about our very deranged murderer. Give me one sec, let me just grab the book that's on my phone. Wait. Okay, so last time I talked to you guys, we were just figuring out the murder, right? We had some bodies drop dead. The group had split off. That turned out to be a detrimental mistake, which I will just explain in a bit. But the group split off and we left kind of there. A lot has happened. Okay. Let me just catch my breath and get into it. The group split off and Lori, who is Jamie, our main character's best friend, Lori, Jamie, two other girls went in one direction. We had Wes, a few guys go in the other direction. We had John, one of the guys go with Jamie, right? That was one group. We had Jamie, Lori, John, Jennifer, and like one other girl, Danny, go in, no, not Danny, go in that direction. Danny, Wes, Colette, and another guy or two went with Wes in the other direction, right? To kind of like, oh my God, my hair. Okay. To kind of scope out the area and figure out how do we get out? Are there any emergency exits? Is there any way we can get out of this? And so that was that. Now, John decides, right? They're like near this like staircase. John decides to go down, right? He's like, I'm just gonna quickly go down and check and see if there's any exit. Jamie's like, this is a bad idea. If the murderer is there, like you're literally walking into his trap. John goes anyway. It's been 10 minutes. He hasn't come back. Jamie's freaking out because she's like, I literally told you not to do this. Jamie has like rules to follow in a slasher, right? It was a joke, right? She's watched many slashers and she's like come up with like rules to follow. Rule number 8, don't say I'll be right back because it's a promise you can't keep. What did John say? I'll be right back. He broke rule 8. He went down. He split out from the rest of the group, which was rule 3 or something. And so Jamie's like, this isn't good. Like he hasn't come back yet. He should be back now. What do we do? So Jamie decides to break her own rules and go after this man. So Jamie goes down the staircase and she's just like walking and it's like silent and it's dark and she can hear a gutting sound. And for some reason, she like in her internal monologue, she's like, that should have been my key to bolt, right? But for some reason, I was kind of frozen. She can hear this gutting sound. There is like a man who's masked, holding another man up and just gutting him with a knife again and again. And she can just hear it happening like over and over again. Eventually, the murderer stops. He kind of sees that she's behind. He drops the body very slowly, turns around, and makes eye contact with Jamie. This man has a mask that's pink, a pink mask, not the burgundy ones you see in the movies, a pink mask with heart eyes on it. This man's in love and he's doing this for love. I don't know why I kind of saw it coming at the rose petals. I don't know why I didn't see it coming earlier, right? This is a slasher-esque rom-com novel, right? Like that's what this whole novel is about. So I feel like I should have predicted that. But anyways, when I read with my brain turned off. So anyways, this man sees Jamie and he just slowly starts walking up to her and Jamie is frozen in place. And the entire time she's thinking like in the movies, I get so mad when the girl is like whatever, just frozen instead of running. And she's telling herself, run, Jamie, and she just doesn't run. And then eventually when he gets like really close, she bolts. Lori sees her bolt and Lori and the other girl start bolting. Lori waits a second for Jamie to catch up. She grabs her hand, they hide. They find this like room with, there's like an empty bar basically. And they go in there and they're hiding. They're like under the bar on like the opposite. Like this is like the countertop and they're on this side hiding and the killer walks in. Everybody's dead silent and the killer leaves a card. And some flowers, I think. Men and their weird ways of showing affection. That is what I'm getting from this book, is men and their weird ways of showing affection. naturally the girls are like, what on earth? And they're like, oh, like this card wasn't here before. So they grab the card and it has a Taylor Swift lyric in it, and it says, can't you see you belong to me? This man is in love and he's just murdering people, leaving roses, Taylor Swift lyrics cards around to show his love for one of the girls, and they don't know who he loves. So the girls are all panicked. They're like, it's one of us, like 1 in 3 chances. And it also shows that he let them go because he left the card in the room for the girl to see. So he knew that they were hiding there and he let them go. And that just freaks them out even more. They're like, this man is not okay. We're in danger now. They panic. A few minutes later, Wes and that group returns. They like reunite with that group, and Wes is just shaken. Jamie's hand has been cut like while she was running. Everybody's kind of shaken. Jamie's kind of bleeding a bit. Wes is like, one of the girls didn't make it. Colette kind of wandered off by herself. She hasn't come back. Wes has a knife in his hand, and that freaks Jamie out. And Wes is like, no, like I just pulled this out of a body because I thought it would be a good weapon, which smart thinking. It obviously, this man who is just gutting, he can kill, and he's using proper weapons, metal knives to do so. Smart thinking on Wes's part. Obviously that was like freaky, like just imagining a bloody man with like not a great image. But yeah, no, smart thinking on his part. He's like, Colette didn't come back. Colette was one of the girls that wandered with Wes's group. Billy and the other girls are like, you were right, like we shouldn't have split off, because Jamie was like, this is rule number 2, like don't split off, right? Rule number 3 or something. And so they're all freaked out, and then I forgot how this happens, but basically in sometime later they stumble across, they're like maybe in the bar or something. I don't know how this, I don't remember clearly if like I don't know, but they stumble across Colette's body that has been gutted. Her intestines have been, trigger warning. Yeah, I'll put like some sort of text before I just start rambling about gore. The gore has started. The gore has started in this book. It was sick reading this. It was like, I was like disgusted. Colette's body has been gutted. Her intestines have been displayed out, and they spell a name. Guess whose name they spell? Jamie. They spell Jamie. The killer is in love with Jamie, and now he's doing all this. And this is where, right, like now that I've caught you guys up, this is where my thoughts come in. I'm like, I still think, like I said at the very start, right? Hopefully I mentioned this, but we have West, who our main girl was like, oh, I really like this man. But right before West, she went on a date with another man who she was like, oh, like kind of like this man. And that man hasn't come back in the story. Like, we don't know what has happened to him ever since like the first murder happened and the lights went out and everybody kind of frantically ran off, right? We haven't seen that man since then. Where did he go? And that man was really nice. That man seemed so sweet and almost perfectly nice. It's a bit suspicious, I won't lie. My bet is like, that man, he could be it. I hope I'm wrong though, because I feel like that's a stupid plot twist. But I mean, this is like a rom-com-y. It's not like a proper thriller. So I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Right? The first guy she went on a date with, can't remember who that was. It's not him. They're like checking off. They're like, okay, like how many guys did you go on a date with? Which guys do you think kind of, thought you were pretty? Like maybe we can figure out maybe through that we can figure out who it was. So obviously Curtis was one of the guys she went on a date with. Curtis was the first guy to drop dead, which again, maybe he's going after the man that she went on a date with too. Although up until now, I mean, a man has been gutted. He's also going after women. So it's just, I don't know. But yeah, no. So I'm betting that it could potentially be that man. It could be the first guy that she went on a date with. That's my guess, right? John is another suspect that like the author's trying to kind of push. I don't know how I feel about that, right? John wandered off from Jamie's group. Like Jamie split off from like West. We had 2 separate groups. Then John wandered off and he didn't come back. We haven't seen his body either. Just as John wandered off, like we came across the murder, right? Then we ran back into the bar. John still hasn't appeared. And people are like, oh, maybe he's dead. Oh, like maybe he's a murderer. Like, is he dead? Is he the murderer? We don't know. And then John comes running back. John is like really like out of breath and he has some sort of weapon with him. And he's like kind of bloody. And he's like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. You got split off. I should have been here. I don't know if the author is trying to push she's trying to push that like John could be it. I don't know if I buy that fully. Like I feel like it would be just too obvious if it was John. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it'd be, why is this tilted? Okay, so sorry. I'm thinking it'd be too obvious if it was John. I don't know if I think it's John. That's my update for now. Is things are picking up. Sorry, I'm still kind of sick. Things are picking up now. The goriness is coming in, which I knew it would, obviously, because it's a slasher. Not too gory, although there is some like, yeah, like I mentioned, clearly we have bodies and etc. Lots of blood. So it's getting a bit gory. Our main girl is kind of like, oh, like this is like, she's freaked out. Like she's like, this man, he's doing all of this because of me. Like all these people are dropping dead because of me. What do I do now? So she's just a bit freaked out. That's where we kind of are. I need to hurry out and see I'm ready to head out. I may do some more reading. We'll see. But yeah, that is where we're at. And I will update you guys very soon. Very freaked out. Very just... I don't know. I still think it's the first guy. He suspiciously has not come back into the story since the very start. To be fair though, wait, if it's the first guy... Who killed the first guy that died? That doesn't make sense now. That's confusing. I don't remember. I think I'm gonna have to like reread the start to see if he was there. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna figure this out and come back. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm confused, but I'll let you guys know my thoughts once I come back. Till then, take care. I shall be back soon. Future me is back. Hi. How have you guys been enjoying the video so far? Hope you have been liking it. So like I said, some of my clips got corrupted, so this is one, and I think maybe the only one that got corrupted. But basically, past me was rambling about how she thought the first guy that Jamie went on a date with, he could have been the one. Where did that first man go? Where did he go? Why hasn't he said a lot in the story? That is because past me was confused. Past me was listening to the audiobook, so and I was listening to it while I was doing other things, so I got a bit confused. John is guy number one. John is the guy that Jamie went on a date with. John is not the first, but like he's the guy that Jamie went on a date with, and Jamie was like, oh, kind of like him. And then she saw Wes. So John is that guy, or it's that same man. And then John, I was like, oh, John's the killer, right? The author is really trying to push that. The author is really trying to push that he's the killer. John just died in the story. They had a run-in with the killer. Jamie, Wes, and John were in the bathrooms. The killer came. John was like already injured at this point. He was like, oh, just sacrifice me. Like, don't come back for me. Don't try to carry me. If you do that, we'll all die. You guys go. It's too late for me anyway. He kind of self-sacrificed himself. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that. It was a bit emotional. Jamie was like, oh, we were supposed to catch a drink. We never even had time to like, talk or anything. Like she's just kind of like upset. John's dead and they're on like Jamie and like Wes both ran into I think the bar again and like hid. Like they're hiding again. At the same time, prior to this, right before this happened, Jamie was in the girls' bathroom with Lori because she needed to use the bathroom. And obviously girls go together. So Lori was like, Jamie, come with me. Jamie and Lori go to the girls' bathroom. They have another interaction with the killer. They're in the bathrooms. Oh, wait, no. So sorry. They don't have another interaction with the killer. They're in the bathrooms and Jamie and Lori notice a vent. And Jamie's like, oh, what if you can climb up to the vent and like leave? Like what if you can find a way out? Lori's like, let me give it a go. Like they get Lori up the vent and like Jamie kind of shoves Lori into the vent. Jamie's like, I won't be able to fit into the vent. You go, you get help, you escape, find a way out. And like I'm just gonna, I can't go up there. Like I won't be able to fit. It's a really emotional scene because Lori and Jamie are best friends. It was very emotional. And Lori, I didn't feel like it was so emotional, but it was like supposed to be emotional. And Lori like goes and Jamie's still there. After that, Jamie like runs into Wes and John and they like then have a like run-in with the killer. John's not the killer. Like that's what my original theory was. That's what I was trying to push. And that's what the author was pushing too. It was weird. I got confused. But yeah, that's where we're at now. The story at this point is really just dwindling and like not much is going on. It's being repetitive. There's just the same of like running into the killer, hiding, running into the killer, hiding. Nothing much is going on. People are dropping dead. Lots of people have died at this point. The killer has no reason or rhyme to their killing. They're killing men which you'd assume they'd kill maybe out of jealousy. They're killing women, which you'd assume they'd kill to kind of show who the killer is interested in. Because at this point, it's clear that the killer is doing this out of love. The killer is trying to profess his love to somebody, and it's clear that that somebody is Jamie. And they're like killing people to show that love. I don't really know. That theory isn't fully explained. There's no reason or rhyme to the killer's killings. There's no pattern. It's just like he's just killing at random, and it's just confusing. I feel like that part of the story is not really well fleshed out. Why is the killer doing this? What's his pattern? What's his motive? We don't really know. I know this isn't like a full-on slasher, but I feel like if we're gonna have a murderer, we should have some reason or rhyme to him, because that's how it is. It's not very realistic for him to just, I don't know, randomly kill. I don't know. I don't appreciate that. I feel like there should have been some sort of pattern. That's where we're at now. Story is dwindling. I will pass you guys back on to past me, who has a lot to say on Jamie and Wes.
I think the twist got me. I hope this isn't the case, because if this is, I'm gonna be mad. If this is how it ends, I will actually be mad. That was intense. I just finished the book. I don't know how to feel about it. It was intense, that's all I can say. It was very fast and it wrapped up quickly. Yeah, no, I didn't see the ending coming though. I'll go into it in a bit. Maybe tomorrow. Let's see. All right. Thank you for sticking with me. Yeah.
Hi. Welcome. It is the next day, clearly. A lot has happened. We need to get into it. I have a lot to say. I will be honest though, the ending did surprise me partially. I kind of figured it out earlier and kind of didn't, and I will get into it now. Basically, I think where I last left you off was, I think it was exam season, and I showed you some audio clips of just our main girl being very unhinged and just not the right place, not the right time. Yep, I think that's where we left off. Since then, a lot has happened. The book was following this repeated pattern of like Jamie and Wes kind of split off, they wander, they run into the killer, they barely escape, or he lets them go. It was like which I'll get into it. Yeah, that was a pattern we were following. Danny died. I don't know if I mentioned, but Danny was like the girl who looked like Meg Ryan, I'm pretty sure. The other guy also died. Oh, I remember now. Right, the pattern repeated. Right before Danny died, there was a revelation, and the third act breakup thing. Yeah, basically. Right before Danny died, right, they were talking and stuff, and then Wes came up with an idea to kind of set off the fire alarms, which would like cause an emergency. It would send an emergency signal, and then like either the firefighters or like the police, somebody would come if the alarm went off. That was their idea, so they were fleshing that out. And then the other guy, forgot his name, guy 2, we'll just call him guy 2. I think it was Curtis, hope I'm not wrong. Yeah, he was just being very uncooperative, and he was like questioning Wes. He was like, why should we trust you, and how do you know so much? Valid question. And then Wes revealed he's a cop, and that kind of shifted things. You'd assume they'd be happy he's a cop, but he was investigating the murders, right? Before Jamie came here on the news, it was like right before Jamie came to the speed dating event on the news, it was like, oh, young girl has been murdered. And so Wes was investigating that case, but because he had a huge fight with somebody else on the team, he was like suspended, so he couldn't be on the case anymore, he couldn't work on it anymore. But of course, rogue cop, he decided to go solo, and he was like, I'm gonna continue investigating it to do some research. I'm gonna go to an event that like a killer like that would go to, right? I'm gonna go to a singles pasta class or something, right? Something like that. So Wes decided to go to this speed dating event for research purposes, to figure out what kind of like why the killer would go to events like this, because the previous killer who like killed that girl who was on the news, he also had that vibe of like he like loved this girl or something. Like he would go to these kind of events. So Wes got there. He didn't know that there would be a killer or the killer there I don't know if is the killer because I'm still a bit confused, but we'll get into it. He didn't know if there would be a killer there, right? He's unaware. And then, right, he goes there for research purposes, but the group doesn't buy it. The group is like, they think that he knew that the murder was going to happen. So the group is immediately a bit distrustful of him. They don't really trust him. They're like, you know, it's useless you being here. Like, you're suspended. Nobody's going to come after us. You won't be able to help us because you're not on the case anymore. The group is just really disheartened, and they are like kind of upset with Wes, Jamie included. Jamie feels betrayed. She's like, like their date was like just for research purposes, like he was just on the job or whatever. Like he didn't actually come here looking for love, and she actually liked him. So Jamie's like, you know, third act breakup. Jamie's like, I don't really like you. You don't, you know, I don't really like the fact that you lied to me, and I feel hurt because I actually liked you, and I'm now just gonna assume that like you were just here for researching the kind of person, you know, the killer would go after or something. So Jamie is not feeling too happy with him. The group is distrustful of him. That's that. Group splits off again. Guy number 2 and Danny and Jennifer go one direction. Wes and Jamie go a separate direction. Jamie's kind of angry. Wes and Jamie kind of go to the bathroom stall, whatever. They're hiding there, they're talking, and Jamie's like, why didn't you tell me? And Wes was like, if I told you, the murder, you know, obviously would get me out straight away. He has a valid point, but Jamie's still like hurt and upset and just feels like their date meant nothing. Of course, love confession. Wes is like, no, I love you, and you know, goes on this whole tangent, and he's like, he says something, let me grab my phone, and that later comes back. He says, no, you're the perfect girl for me, you're exactly my type, you know, you're like my leading lady, or something like that is basically what he says. And Jamie's like, oh, like I'm his type, I'm the leading lady, whatever. And then again, the book follows that same scenario. The group splits off, obviously. Jamie and Wes have this conversation. Then Jamie and Wes, of course, encounter the killer. The group rejoins, right? And the killer kills everybody, right? Like the killer's there. The group rejoins. The killer is unveiled. Only except it's a woman. Billy, who I mentioned earlier as the mean girl, is killer. Killer number 1. There's two. Billy comes out, right? And she kills Danny. She kills Jennifer. She basically says like, Jamie's like, oh, like if you want me so badly, why don't you just kill me? And Billy's obviously like, I hate you, you know? She was the mean girl. Billy's obviously like, I hate you. And Jamie's like, why have you been killing everybody? And Jamie's like, why don't you just kill me? And Billy's like, oh, I will, but I know you'll be a disappointment to us. Or like something like that. And basically reveals the fact that there are 2 killers. And Jamie didn't suspect that and is confused. All these people die in front of her. Billy, I think, maims Wes. Like she ends up hitting him somewhere and then kind of runs off. No, she maims Wes, and then Wes kind of pushes her, or like tries to hurt her. I don't know. I think she died. I think he like pushed her or something. He like attacked her and she like fell back and like rolled away or something. Wes has been maimed, and at this point Jamie's like, there's a second killer. And Wes was in the room when Billy said that. So of course, Wes must be the second guy, right? Like John died, the other Curtis guy died, all these guys died. The girls are dead too. Like it's just Billy, Wes, and Jamie. Except it's not. Hear me out. That's what I thought. I panicked. I was like, Wes cannot be it. Like I said that at the start. I was like, if it's Wes, I'm gonna be extremely upset. Like I don't know if I mentioned that, but he's literally the love interest. He's the love interest. He can't also be the killer. Jamie freaks out. Wes is injured. Wes is like, trust me, like it's not me. I would never do that. You know I would never do that. And Jamie's like, oh, like, because the killer has been like trying to find the one. The killer is trying to woo somebody. Obviously, the killer is trying to woo Jamie. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, killer is trying to woo somebody. Killer's trying to woo Jamie. He's trying to like, you know, he's being romantic. The flower petals, etc., etc. So Jamie's like, and then Wes also said earlier, you're my type. You're the leading lady or the final girl. You know, something like that. And it's like Jamie's connecting the dots. Jamie's upset. She like runs from Wes, leaves him injured. She runs out and she runs into the real killer. It's not Wes. It's John, who I said it was earlier. I told you guys, it's John. It's always the quiet ones. It's always the quiet ones. It's John, the guy that she first went on a date with, who she was like, oh, he's kind of cute. The guy she was like, I'm gonna have drinks with. The guy who apparently sacrificed himself and died. Didn't actually die. It was just an act. It was just an act. It was Billy trying to like pretend kill John. It was just an act. John's alive, and he confesses his love to Jamie. And Jamie's like, oh, she's kind of taken back. She doesn't know what to do. She hears out John's love confession. He goes on about how he had to find the right one. He had to go through all these women to make sure she was the one. He like did all this for her. He's a psychopath and a sick man. He's a psychopath and a sick man. And that's what he says. He's like, I did all this for you. He's like, you're my dream woman. You're the minute I laid eyes on you, I knew it was you. But I had to make sure, so I had to, kill everybody. And he just goes on, and Jamie's like, I thought you died. I thought you were dead. And he's not. Jamie then runs off. Obviously, she's freaked out. When his eyes are closed and he's like, just feeling everything. She's like, she bolts. She's like, this is my chance to get away from the sick man. She bolts and she runs into Wes, and she's like, she grabs Wes. Wes grabs her. They hug. She's like, I'm so sorry for thinking you were the killer. And he's like, it's okay. Like, girl, it's going to take more than that to get rid of me, which what? Anyways, they form a game plan. Wes is like, I'm gonna set off the fire alarm. No, sorry. Wes is like, we found an exit. We're gonna break through and get out, and we're gonna like leave space open for you to like run out as well. And Jamie's like, I'm gonna distract John while you guys get ready to break out. So Jamie does that. She goes back. She pretends to confess to John, except she doesn't really confess to him. She's like making it obvious that he's not her type, making it obvious that she doesn't love him, and then making it really obvious that she's already in love. She's essentially baiting him or triggering him, and he gets mad when he finds out that Jamie is in love with Wes. He freaks out. He screams. I think, Jamie kills him. Jamie stabs him and runs. That's how, we have an epilogue of like Wes and Jamie being in love. I'm so sorry. We have an epilogue of Wes and Jamie being in love, but that's basically how it kind of ends. It was John and Billy. John, the innocent guy, Billy, the mean girl. I didn't see Billy coming. I didn't see her coming. I thought it was just John. Yeah. The police arrive soon after. Lori ends up getting help. Remember how Lori escaped to get help? Lori ends up getting help. Police arrive. Everybody runs out. The remaining people, whoever didn't die. Because like I said, there were a lot of speed daters, and like for a large part of the story, we were just following the people that Jamie had conversed with, people Jamie was, speed dating. There was like a whole separate set of speed daters, and they were hiding, coming up with a plan. And so people were there. Not everybody was dead, but people were alive. They escaped, which I think is weird. If that was the case, you would suspect somebody from that group to be one of the killers too. I don't know. That was weird. It was like weirdly wrapped up, but it wrapped up. Police came, Lori came. Fast forward months later, Jamie's been through therapy. Lori's doing a documentary on what happened. Wes and Jamie are in love. But yeah, that's that. That is how to kill a guy in 10 dates. Insane. I have a lot to say. I honestly enjoyed it. It was, I would say, a 3.85 stars. I think the writing was really well. It was really well written, I would say. Like the language used with all the references to rom-coms and thrillers and plot lines and tropes and character types. I thought that was really interesting. I feel like the author really puts you into this other world, and I think she does a great job at that. I think the plot was a bit repetitive. That could have been done better or differently. Other than that, it was a decent book. It's pretty good. It was engaging. It was fun. It was ridiculous. There were so many moments where I was like laughing out loud. The audiobook was really good. The audiobook was like, you had like two different voices for the guy and the girl, and I feel like that just did it. It just, whoever did specifically Jamie's voice was really good. She made Jamie sound ridiculous and like not sarcastic. What's the word? Unhinged is the word. Unhinged. And just a bit like flirty and yeah, kind of like that. So I feel like she did a good job at that. Yeah, the audiobook was really good. It was really well written. Plot was repetitive. Characters, I liked Wes. He was a good guy. I liked him. I think his character was done well. I like Jamie. I love Lori. Lori is Jamie's best friend and I love her. She's so funny. I feel like if some of the side characters were developed a little bit more, I would have liked that. But yeah, How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the vlog. This has been a very long rant. Hope you guys had a good time reading it with me. It was definitely, I don't regret it. Not the best thing I've ever read, but I don't regret it. It was fun. It was a fun time. It was a ridiculous time. Some things didn't make sense. Like I said, I don't understand the concept of there being a whole separate set of speed daters that we were never introduced to until the very end, who were like secretly hiding. I feel like if we had known that, there would be more options of who the killer could be. I don't know. I feel like maybe it was unnecessary to include that if you couldn't handle that. I feel like, I feel like that was a bit random, not done well. It was wrapped up quite nicely. It was started quite nicely. It was like really engaging at the start. The middle got a bit, like I said, boring and repetitive for a while. Loved the rom-com references. I am such a rom-com girly. And like the chapter titles, I'm going to play the audio of that. They're so funny. They're like rom-com references or rom-com quotes and lines, but with a twist. I think it's ridiculous. Wait.
I suppose I think about murder more than anyone really should. I'm constantly amazed by its sheer power to alter and define our lives. Not the holiday. Chapter 3. This is the type of girl he wants to murder. This is what I need to become to be slaughtered. Not Legally Blonde.
Do you get what I mean? They're just funny and ridiculous, and I really didn't see that coming. And I thought that was a great touch to the novel. Overall, pretty good book. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed reading this with me. I hope you guys had a fun time. I'm going to do more vlogs like this because this was so much fun. Yeah, I had a great time doing this, reading this book with you guys. Let's do another one very soon. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys very soon. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye.